Hey everybody, it's Brett. Just want to give you a quick update. It's Monday and I've been monitoring the markets here today. Pretty slow, pretty quiet, seeing some things that I want to share and go over one of the indicators that most of you probably aren't familiar with yet and haven't used so much. But we're going to talk about the dynamic true range here. So let's jump over to the live charts. All right, so Bitcoin, couple things. We're still in this bull flag potentially coming down maybe one more time. It's a little bit strange that we haven't broken out or broken down here. The bulls, as it were, are holding this level pretty well. And I don't want to rush through this because it is a bit tricky. Readjusted the upper boundary of the trend line. We had gotten above it here, rejected around 110K. I'll pull up this news article here just really quickly because they're talking about it here, how Bitcoin has been selling, facing selling pressure at 110K, saying the bulls are expected to aggressively defend Bitcoin. I don't know where they get that information. It's really not clear. We're not going to talk about XRP, but yeah, so that 110 level, 110,500, showing it says continues to face selling pressure, showing the bears are vigorously defending the level. A positive sign in favor of the bulls is they have not allowed the price to dip below the moving averages. We'll look at that. I'm not sure which moving averages they're talking about. We always use our own, and they are talking about the Bollinger Bands, but I think they're off here. Bollinger Bands pinching are important. Squeezing just shows consolidation. But let's see, John Bollinger, of course, does know what he's talking about, the inventor of the Bollinger Bands, and apparently saying that Bitcoin could be setting up for an upside breakout. I'm leaning toward the bullish side, but it is a bit of a gamble here, and it's usually difficult at these mid-range local tops. I am better at calling major market tops and bottoms, and we just have to kind of wait for some confirmation. And so it's basically they're saying that they don't know either. There's evidence on both sides. But once again, that 110K level, which was that kind of local top before, and last time it went to the all-time high around 112K. I've been saying that I don't fully trust this rally till we get a punch above 112 and ideally a retest. But we have been coiling here for a while, and so the the reason today is tricky. As of yesterday, we were closing above that upward downtrending parallel channel, and now we're rolling over a bit. Mondays, I last night it was so quiet that I just said, let's see what Monday brings, and I didn't want to rush to do an update in the morning. We are now having selling off a bit, having a bearish engulfing candle, and again, we just need to wait for the end of the day. So I'll do another update end of the day. Very important close because so this trend line here I drew from down here to the lows of this. And as of yesterday, it was holding, but as of today, it is not. If we can close up above this trend line, usually we see sell-offs toward the end of the day, whether that's high leverage traders going flat for the day, but it's rare that we see late day rallies. It's so kind of leaning toward we could dip down into this range here at 106. There's buyers down in that range. So that was scenario one, of course, getting a bit delayed on that scenario. There were three scenarios. I've taken one off. That was the breakout, which hasn't happened. Now, if we continue coming down lower, though, I would be adding to Bitcoin around 106,000 right at that midpoint of the buy block. Not going heavy, just sort of building position. If we believe that Bitcoin will go higher at some point in the future, which is, as Michael Saylor says, is if it's not going to zero, it's going to a million. The question is when. But we don't want to be sitting on the sidelines completely and miss a big move, which could happen at any time. So, that's why I'm slowly dipping my toe back in the water and buying, even though it's going down. I think we will still get to 150,000 this cycle. 200,000 is a possibility, and that's the base case. So if that's my best guess, my best base case based on my models, then that's why we should be accumulating here. So I'm going to move this trend line down a bit, just kind of take it out of the way. These arrows, not to be confused with the moving averages here, it's a bit much to see, so let me move that out of the way. I happen to have these as the same color, but my 21-day exponential moving average, we normally use that orange, so for the time being for today, to contrast from those other arrows, I'm just going to already use green. I guess I'll go blue. Let's have it stand out a little bit. Red is probably good, so I'll ultimately go back to that. But this red 21-day exponential moving average here, price holding that. 21 isn't as strong as the 50. The 50 is kind of bringing up the rear. We could certainly chop around in here a little bit more, but I'm not ready to sort of dive in and add more. I might dabble, add a little bit more because we have been seeing green up, two up green days, one red day, two up, one red. So according to that, we should see if we're going to go higher, we'll start seeing green bars by tomorrow. But I do want to see where that closes. Bearish engulfing candle, hence the name bearish would signify we'll come back down in this range. So, not really clear what's driving this market. So, interesting to see if the ETFs have been buying today. Doesn't really feel like it. Our radar, we haven't been playing around with this too much, but this has been showing improvement. It was all green the other day. The daily or the daily is bearish, so that's fine. That can change by the day. Weekly and monthly and quarterly are bullish. So this pattern here does suggest a bit of a rolling over. What I'd really like to see is a drop and a bounce. So, I mean, if we got an end of day selling, we talked about the July 7th low. And I'm going to pull that up here. Let's see if I can get to it. This is the Discord of the Market Cycle Secrets course we launched last year. It's not really available right now, but Juan Villaverde is an expert in cycles theory, and as our friends at Camel Finance. By the way, I'm going to be connecting with and doing a collaboration tomorrow with Camel, and hopefully that's going to be interesting. I'm sure that it will. Not sure when it's released. Interestingly, his camel indicator is not calling for a cycle low like Juan is, but they're going about it a little bit differently. So July 7th at considered an ideal market cycle low. And next one would be August 3rd. These aren't exact. The red ones mean lows. These mean they could be either a top or a bottom. So, I'm not the expert on this. I'm just going by what they put together in here. But I did just ask Juan what he thinks on the same chart we're watching right now. So as soon as I get some feedback on that, I'll share it. And I think, again, it's not a really sexy chart. It's not an exciting chart, but we don't want to be kind of chasing these things to be sort of setting limit orders to buy as we go down right at here at 106,350 if you wanted to do that, and see where it goes down here at the 50-day. We did punch down into this green box before around 105K. It just, the markets need a catalyst, and it could go either way. We could take a look at what economic data is out this week, but I just feel like maybe this is the quiet before the storm. And let's look at the volume here as I had on here. Volume's just, oops, not that. Let me open that chart up. Volume is just, it's all right. It's bearish. Obviously today, low on the weekends. We expect that because it's when Wall Street's closed. And our signals are, we did have this bearish divergence, which is playing out. The concern I have is on our trend strength indicator is rolling over and below 80. And generally, we see continued sell-off when that happens. So I want to be ready for anything, and wish I could give you a clear-cut answer and what we should be doing, but it is just one of those points where you have to kind of sit it out and wait. So having some time in the markets, trying to time the markets is harder, but I do have it labeled as July 7th low, and we'll have to see what happens. So anyway, I'll update you on that. Total market cap is also kind of in that downtrending channel. Even if we redraw it there, it's in a downtrending channel, as I said. So I would expect that to provide some resistance, but we also have the big buy block down below, so it's inching higher. I do think it resolves to the upside, and we kind of head up in this range, and we're going to have some trouble over here. But if this thing is supposed to top, we've been talking about timelines and getting to 150K by August. It's got to get moving, and the M2 money supply, it's kind of falling behind that. We would have expected to see that push higher by now. So bit of a tricky read. It's going to be clearer as we go by day, and just be ready. I would say have an idea of how much you want to allocate and get into these different projects and coins. And if you're watching this in the private members, we're working on that shopping list and portfolio optimized at the right time, and I'll be working on that here. Some of you still need to do your one-on-ones, but anyway, and then some of these here are, I've been saying ICP and Filecoin look good, not so much on the radar, but if we dip down into these green zones again, and ICP around $4.50 would be a good time to pick it up. It's been respecting it down here, and I'm only looking at it for a potential ROI. Don't go heavy on these. I don't know if these things are really going to go anywhere, but it's the potentials there 10x. We're looking for a handful of 10x or 20 or 40x projects to kind of make up for the bulk of, let's face it, the losses we bled out since December, January, and while it wasn't terribly unexpected, caught us off guard there. So, these, because there's this long-term support, and that's why I'm starting to sort of allocate and add down here in these buy zones. But other than that, I haven't been seeing much I like in these markets here. Seems like some are doldrums. Solana, we had that head and shoulders breakdown, but it recovered out of the buy block. Now it's kind of sandwiched in between buyers and sellers. So, preferably we come down and into that 125 level, 130 again on Solana. And that's what I'd like to see, is to be able to pick up some more down in that range. TSI rolling over. This is bearish. I wouldn't be buying Sol here. And so keep that in mind. And so I'm not going to go through all of these. We'll go through these on Wednesday. But, it's just sleepy, quiet markets. It's not the time to really be buying. Maker Dow is in a buy zone, but let's just kind of be careful here. Something just feels weak. When the bull is back, we will know. And a lot of these have all red radars. So it's interesting. Bitcoin's mostly green, showing that Bitcoin dominance has been on the rise. But these are the tricky ones. I think Lido has given us a hard time this year. But to be fair, I need to redraw that. That's almost a double bottom. I'm starting to see things. We want it so bad. I'm starting to see, have my confirmation bias saying, hey, that's a higher low, but really it's not. It's a double bounce. So, I'll buy into strength. All red on the radar is a no-go. Do not buy anything if it's all red in the radar. This likely comes down. So that's why we're not talking about these anymore. Stacks, again, coming down. I have alerts set to let you guys know. But if you wanted to kind of set your buy alerts and limit buys in that 50-cent range, might be a good point to do so. But otherwise, I'm just erring on the side of caution. And just a sea of red today. Let's take a quick look at the DXY. DXY pushing up a little bit, probably hit some resistance and head back down. So, I think this really, it could still be that July 7th low, and we're getting this kind of bleed out, slow bleed out, real, not very exciting, but could still kind of be that bounce point. ETH, I'm hearing money's flowing into ETH, not really seeing it. Volume's been decreasing. Big sell block on ETH up in this range, kind of a janky cup and handle. I have an alert set for 2750. If we get up and close above 2750 and really back above in the 3000 zone, that's where the breakout is real. But there's all these sell levels up on ETH, and I just not feeling it and not buying it. So anyway, so that's all I have for you guys. I think that's all I wanted to share with you. Nothing really going on in the news. We'll keep you updated in terms of any economic data. Sometimes the markets go quiet ahead of some economic news. And again, let's see. I guess I can pull that up real quick. And news and events, over to Forex Factory calendar and see if there's any red folders here. We've got, let's see, red folders are ones with the potential to move the markets here. We're only interested in USD. So we have the FOMC minutes on Wednesday and then unemployment claims on Thursday. Yeah, those, unemployment claims can certainly spook the market, and the FOMC minutes, that's when Powell basically says, hey, here's what I think. And, there was some discussion of a, unemployment or a FOMC meeting and dropping rates. It's not likely that's going to happen. We'll look at the calendar here. They've not priced that in at all, and those are usually right. So just looking at that, then might as well jump into that one. See real quick, go over to the Fed watch tool over here, and FOMC, or is that thing? Come on, over here, Fed watch tool. So yeah, there's pretty much no chance. Some people are still calling for a rate drop. They don't want to do it prematurely, and Powell and that they're it's not happening. You guys, 95% chance, no change in July. Now, there's no meeting in August, of course. September, more than likely. Yeah, so September, they are calling for like a 62%. So we're going to start seeing rate cuts September-ish, and kind of fuel for the markets, and that's generally on these bull runs end. It's been a wild ride in this market. It's hard to say if the bull extends into 2026. Some people are saying that, but I'm really gun shy. I don't want to be holding a big bag going into these later things. Now, it reminds me, I want to talk to you guys about the average true range. So this is one of the ProPack indicators. If you don't have those yet, most of you will, if you're seeing this video. But that's over at cryptomastery.org. The ATR can be used as a dynamic stop loss, but it stands for average true range. So if I turn off the Bollinger Bands here, give you a little better idea. Let's see, Bollinger Bands are tightening on the 4-hour a bit, not conclusive, but here's what we want to look at. So the average true range, it'll change the colors of the candles a little bit, so just be aware of that. And it'll add in these entry and exit signs. So what I'm trying to call your attention to is when we come down into out of exit mode into entry, usually that's a great confirmation that it's going to push higher. And so we have had these red bars. They're outlined in red, so you can still say that they're down arrows. But the point is, when we start to reverse and get up, well, we're still in entry mode here, but if we were to go exit and then back into entry, then that would be a good sign. And I'm just kind of waiting to see how that reacts and as a sign that we're going to go higher. And the other thing I'm watching is the TSI. I know it seems like a lot if you're new, but what we really do want to see for these rallies, and so pay attention, is the TSI coming down in the oversold zone and then pushing higher again. Because if we open that up, that is when we pushed up here to that 110K up to 110K that time, 112K. That push and drive was triggered down in here, coming off a low point. Where we really don't see new highs is when the trend strength indicator is headed lower, and especially if it's in overbought conditions. So we kind of want to see that. Now, this is a 4-hour chart later into tonight, and come rocketing out of here. Certainly could see that into tomorrow or Wednesday. Probably going to see some hold off based on the economic news. And but it's going to set us up for a really interesting conversation tomorrow. And I'm curious to hear Camel's thoughts on the timing of the next cycle. If we jump back over and look at the Camel indicator, which is very cool, by the way, and I am going to ask him for a discount for us, our members, if you guys want to get a hold of this. So let me just open that up and show you what it looks like. So let's see. Now, sometimes you can use, this is the US dollar index, and it gives you a little warning saying unoptimized asset. They're all pretty much the same. It doesn't change the chart much, but I'll go over to BitMEX or Bitstamp, and now it says that's fine, or any of the other exchanges like Binance. And so it actually seems like Bitstamp better. Okay, so what we're seeing here on the Camel indicator, daily, weekly cycle lows. What's interesting, and I'm going to be talking about tomorrow, is the overlap of our early reversal indicator. I'm not going to give away the surprise. I mentioned it last week, but look at this, you guys. Almost perfect overlap on the Camel cycle lows and our daily ERI, just off by a day. And I have a hypothesis how they might be related, and pure speculation, but it's interesting. So let me turn off the ERI, just kind of focus on the cycle trading low. But now it's weird because it updated. It was showing it here, which was a better entry, and our ERI caught this one. I don't want to blabber on here too much, but interesting. Will be interesting to see. These also call the tie up the tops. R is right translated, left is left translated. It's kind of forecasting. His is forecasting the next low in this August range. And so very mixed signals here. Usually September is when the kind of big money comes back in and moves these markets. But based on these, probably looking at another daily cycle low in this range. But again, I don't want to get too into it. I'll let him explain tomorrow. It also will show the annual cycle lows. So, I mean, look, this also very much in line. The 16.5 lows, it showed the yearly cycle. This was a cycle low timing wise. How cool is that? Right down at the bottom around November, December of 2022. I had forecast 16.5, as you guys know, back here in May, so got a little bit lucky with that. But going forward, we're going to be real good at nailing these bottoms. I was saying buying in here, and our weekly, actually our monthly ERI, which of course, let's go to a monthly chart. It'd be interesting. Yeah, so look at all this overlap with the annual camel cycle low is almost exactly the same as the ERI. And again, I'm going to get into that tomorrow, how they think they could be related. Some of you might have heard me say just maybe the institutions that with the ERI is picking up are also using cycles. So because we saw it all the way back here in Jan 19th, so be excited because if nothing else, over the next 5 and 10 years, if we just do that and buy the cycle low and our ERI for confirmation, and then hold for weekly tops, there's many indicators for calling the top. I am going to pull up another one here, the pi cycle top we haven't looked at in a while, but it's not there yet. It's kind of pointing toward later and higher. So anyway, that's all I wanted to dive into. I know it was a bit much. I wanted to cover some nuances there because normally I would do a Crypto Mastery org, the Pro Suite training on the first Tuesday of the month, but we were supposed to connect Camel and I today, and he had a conflict. So we're going to do that tomorrow, and that should be fun. So be sure and tune in. I don't think it's going to be live. I'm not sure yet. If it is, I'll let you guys know. And other than that, just more patience is required. I think what I'll do is a quick update later tonight, and just tell you what I'm seeing. And is it time to start dabbling back into this market? But it's really not clear, and I want to see some clearer signals that we're bouncing a little bit here. Let me just jump over real quick to the 1 hour because, the problem is that, and this is what I wanted to point out to you. So there's no buyer support really. There's a ton of sellers up in this range, and but the buyers are really down here at 100, and I don't see any others up in this range on the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, this cycle, if it starts to push up, we could see another push up into this 110 range. We're running out of time. It just doesn't feel all that strong, and we need some kind of a catalyst. And if all of the other buying and strategic reserves and things haven't gotten this thing to go, I'm not sure what it's going to take, but we will take it one step at a time. And if it's looking more like this scenario, we've got to get moving in the next couple days. So I'll keep you posted. Please block off Wednesday at noon for the M3 Active Trader class, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, take care, everyone.